Hey everyone, trying to get the camera right in place again. So this is where you can see it. Today we're going to be making the stamens, which are the little like hairs in the center of some flowers that have circles on the end. Now what the pattern says to do is put craft wire in these to make them stand up. I don't have that right now, so for now they're just going to be floppy, but maybe another time I could come back and add it. They shouldn't take too long. We're going to make four, starting with six single crochets in a magic circle. Yesterday, I I spent a lot of time cooking. It's the first time I made something that took 2 hours, which was a long time, but I made chicken Alfredo. It was really fun. It tasted really good too. I've only had it from well, my mom's made it before, but that's the only time I've ever had it, and she didn't put very many spices in it. But the recipe I was using was like use Italian seasoning and salt and pepper, also olive oil and butter. So putting all those things in was really cool. It gave it a lot of flavors. I also learned that it's hard to tell when chicken is cooked all the way through. I don't have a meat thermometer right now. So I think next time I cook it, I'll just cut it into smaller pieces. I'd rather play it safe than sorry. Once we're done making all these pieces, we'll probably have another stream or part of a stream where we just sew all the pieces together because that also is going to take a minute. I feel like putting the camera closer would let you see what I'm doing better. 'This part we're making is kind of wide, so this is going to fold over, and that's going to be the sphere on the end. Then we'll decrease to make the string part of the stamen. Let's try moving this a bit closer. Can you see it? Okay, I think putting my hands here works the best. Yeah, we're going to decrease here. I don't think we'll stuff these because they're so small, but that could be funny. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's supposed to be a pointy nose, and I think that'll be more obvious once we finish the face on the Flabebe. But for now, it kind of looks like it has some kind of elephant trunk. It's not the elephant Pokemon. We have Fanpea for that. Also Caparaja. Dang it. I'm gonna need to either clip some yarn or get out a pencil again because you have to do a lot of small rows, and those are very easy to lose track of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay. Rows 4 to 12, so that's 8 rows. Okay. I don't think it's showing up as well on camera, but I really like this yellow in person because it looks almost like butter. It's really soft and cheerful. There's only 4 stitches in this row, so I'm not gonna use my stitch marker, but every 4 stitches, I'm just gonna note down that I made another row because we're working the round anyway. I've also had this yellow yarn for a really long time, so I've gotten a lot of use out of it. Over the years, I collected a lot of yarn that I thought was cool, but I didn't have a lot of projects in mind right away. So I'm trying to go through and use up all my stash before I get anything new. Check it out. It's not as obvious as I thought it would be, but you could clearly tell, like, the end of this is bulbous. A lot of the petals I noticed once I finished them, they made a sort of cup shape. And I wonder if petals in real life evolved that way on purpose. Like maybe they can gather water, or maybe when little bees or other bugs climb onto them, then they like slide into the middle and then they get closer to the center of the flower. It seems like it's probably there for a reason. That actually reminds me, another thing I learned about coelacanths recently is not only are they slimy, they are filled with fat. And that's to support them because they live under so much water. They live at the bottom of the ocean. So they need to withstand the pressure. And that's so cool to me. Because obviously, with like submarines, we humans, we use super strong materials. But some fish also use like goop, squishy stuff, and it does the same thing. It almost reminds me of a cushion. That's 5 rows. I wonder something similar about leaves because they don't all look exactly like cups, but a lot of leaves they'll have like a lowered section in the middle and they curve up at the edges. So I wonder how that evolved and why. These are going to be kind of long, which I wasn't expecting. They almost remind me of feelers like insects have. I might not make all of these in a row just because I like taking breaks and doing different things. But next, all we have to make is the leaves. 1 second. They almost remind me a little bit of an insect's legs, too, with the foot on the end. Maybe they evolved for similar reasons. I think that's 8 rows now. So that should be all done this one. Okay. Okay, gonna fasten this off. That took a shorter time than I thought it would. I thought it would take a while. Well, maybe that's a good sign. We'll have lots of time to do stuff today. I think this is about 2 inches long. So imagine two of these standing on top of each other. That's how small a Flabebe is. Okay, we're gonna make 4 of these. Eventually, probably not today, stick them onto the center of the flower and then sew them all on. Two, three, four, five, six. I feel like even when we're making just the round in the middle, that almost looks like a flower. Because with such a small piece, you can see the increases more easily, and they remind me almost of petals. Yesterday, my youngest brother was showing me one of his stuffed animals, right? And I said, "Oh, it's pastel." And he said, "Yeah, it's the color of sherbet." And I had to stand there for like a minute processing and go, "Oh, he means sherbet. That's the only place he's seen pastel colors." Well, it's not the only place, but um, how do I describe him? He tends to like more powerful colors. My mom once said that Baby Bowser would be a good nickname for him. So that should inform you about his personality. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I have seen people who work on miniatures, like they work at such a small scale, and that's amazing to me because you have to see so clearly and make tiny, precise movements. It's amazing. Okay, time to start the 8 rows here. One, a lot of flowers where I live actually don't have these. They don't have stamens. And I know they function in some way. I just want to know how. Because if you've ever seen like plumerias, they look empty. They look like there's nothing in the middle there. So how they obviously reproduce in some way, but how? Is it a leftover? from when flowers were still forming. Speaking of flowers, once one of my cats had to get a cone put on his head. It's a long story. He got a nice comfy fabric cone, but it well, it kind of made him look like he had a massive flower on his head. So whenever he was running around with this just flopping all over him, my brother would say, "Oh, I am a beautiful flower." I was like, he was just at the cat hospital, but it was very funny. 1, 2, 3, 4. Speaking of cats, one of my cats has eyes that are like the exact color of this yarn, and he's normally very chill, but every once in a while he'll just like glare at me. I used to try to figure out like what did I do wrong? And my mom was like, she's a veteran cat owner. She was like, cats just always glare at you. It is nice to have the pictures. I don't think you guys can see them, but I need to look at them in this pattern that show me exactly where to sew things. Because if it's just words, a lot of times those are open to interpretation. Like middle of the flower. Do you mean I should sew all the stamens together like this or in a circle, like boop, 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 boop? I don't know. 1, 2, 3. I don't know why this looks twisty. This always happens when I sew like a long tube. So I guess we'll just have to deal with it. Looks bumpy, but it's not like real life stamens are perfect either. I think I should also get out my big needle just for to speed up the sewing part of this. Okay, that should be the end of this one. Okay, all right, there's number two done. Boop, boop. Right now they look like antennae, but eventually they will look more like part of a flower. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Okay. There is a villainous character I have created that I've been thinking about. Her name is Yola. And something I've been considering doing with her is having her act more like vulnerable or weak than she is. Because the overall thesis with her is that she's very charismatic and good at getting people on her side, but that doesn't make her a good person. Like, that's how she keeps people listening to her is charm, like looking beautiful and making people want to befriend her because of that, or telling them what they want to hear. And something that doesn't work for everyone, but that some even like rulers have used in the past is making themselves look like soft and cute. Like, oh, I'm not a threat. Come protect me. And that's how they stay in favor. That's what the Madame de Pompadour did, for example. And I don't really want this character to actually be weak. But if she pretends to be, if she pretends to be. I'm thinking, is there, like, anyone around her who would want to protect her? Because why a lot of people use it in real life is if they're trying to earn favor with, like, the king or something. By the time the story that she's in starts, she would be in charge, but I wonder if for a while, this character could have been, like, lower in the hierarchy, so she's trying to earn her way up. I have also been trying to decide, do I want to give her brown hair or red hair? And that's just something I've been doing in my sketchbook. I don't think I've posted it online yet, but eventually I might show you guys. There's number 3. I have so much green yarn, guys, which is good because I need to use it for the leaves. But I'm thinking, like, even after that, what am I going to use it for? Because I don't make a lot of green things. To Am I the only one who has to pull on this like 3 times to make the center all the way close up? Okay. Each evening I go out for a walk and I see little bunnies. My mom actually, and she goes out for walks in the early morning. She told me that she sees them too. So I'm curious if that means that bunnies only go out at like dusk and dawn, they're crepuscular. Because for some reason I thought they were just awake during the day like humans. Mm, okay, that should be 6. Yeah, that's 6. Okay, good. You know what happened the other day? I was at the beach and a cultist tried to offer me their business card. I'm fine, don't worry. And I was just like, no, thank you. Luckily, they just left. But later, I told my friend this, and he said, this is why we should normalize Black Panther claws, which was very funny. I think he means is like a defense mechanism. No, if anyone ever approaches me, I could just take out my claws and swipe them. Has anyone else seen Chibidoki's birthday model? I love it. It's so pretty. The pastel colors are really soothing, unlike her personality, and they make a really pretty almost rainbow with the pink, the yellow, the blue. I don't think there's green, so it's not a complete rainbow, but there's still so many different colors. She looks super cute with short hair, and I like the asymmetry. I think she's only got a legging on one leg. I love the pom-poms and the ruffles. It's so much fun. I also love the merch she has out. Have you seen the hoodie? It's so cool. You know, while I was at the beach, By the way, my brother was sitting right next to me. We were sitting in 2 beach chairs. As I was explaining the cultist incident later, he was like, "I didn't even notice that." He was reading about the lost cities of the Maya at the time, so I guess that was just more interesting than being solicited. Another thing I learned as I was making chicken Alfredo yesterday was that, at least this is my first time ever doing it, it was difficult to get all of the different ingredients in the sauce to like chemically bond together and form into a homogeneous mixture. It still tasted fine, so I didn't really worry about it. But I wonder if there was something I need to do differently, like start by cooking everything in the same pan instead of put some in, like the cream in first and then add the other spices later. Or do I need to like leave it in the pan for longer? I only left it in for a couple minutes because I didn't want it to burn. I think I crocheted a little too loosely here. You can see the big holes, so I'm probably gonna sew them up later. Another thing that happens while I'm on my walks is I'll walk past people's cars, like if they're parked in their driveways, and I try not to like stare at them because that feels like creepy, but occasionally something will like jump out at me. For example, I had the unfortunate, well, fortune of learning that one of the people who lives in my neighborhood is a weeb. Because I walked by this person's nice car sitting in their driveway, right? And on the bumper is a sticker that says, "Don't honk at me, I'm sensitive," with a picture of Anya from Spy Family. And first I was like, "How dare you call me out like this? I would not handle people honking at me either." And then I see, well, a a sticker that I can't really describe on YouTube attached to that little port with the door on it where you put in gas. On it is a picture of um, an anime girl. You can probably imagine what she's doing. She's doing the thing that sounds like ahoge, but is not ahoge, and going, "Ah, fill me up." And I was like, you know what? Even if I was some kind of notorious car thief and I like stole cars for a living or something, I would not steal this car because the amount of secondhand embarrassment that I got just observing this sticker for a couple seconds was so intense that I had to like run walk away. If I was like a car thief, I would look at this and go like, "Oh, never mind." I guess it's an effective deterrent. this should be the last stamen. I'm just patching up some parts where I wasn't very neat. Okay, there we go. All four. I'll look more carefully at how to sew these on once we're assembling the whole pattern. But for now, they almost look like snakes. Okay, so next we're going to make the leaves. We only have three to make, so they shouldn't take too long, but they'll be made like a smaller version of the petals. Two, three. I haven't seen the full reveal yet, but earlier I saw like a little teaser for Victoria's new outfit too, Victoria the Sun Eater. And with like the big hat, it looks so pretty. I used to wear big sun hats all the time because I live in a very sunny area. And I don't really anymore because they would like flop onto my face. So now I just wear sunglasses. But I think they look so pretty, especially when you add decorations like flowers and ribbons. I wonder if she'll tie that into her lore of being like the sun eater, maybe even she needs protection from the sun sometimes. I don't think she has to, it's just for fun, but it could be cool. So this row needs to end with 9 stitches. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, good. Then 2 rows of 9 stitches. Another thing that happened while I was on my walk yesterday is a dog saw me from across the road. I think it was a Labradoodle. And why I find this funny, it was not just across a whole road, it was like to the right, and I hadn't even approached the crosswalk yet. But it somehow saw me from all this space away and started barking. And it wasn't mean, it was just, like, excited, like, "Whoa, a human, that's so cool, that's so cool." But I was like, "How can they see that well?" Aren't dogs made mean senses like smell? Could they smell me from that far away? Could they smell my deodorant? I wonder why some dogs are so super friendly to new people. My dog, for example, she when she meets someone new, a lot of times she'll bark at them, and that's just because she doesn't know who they are yet, so she doesn't know what to do. She's nervous. They're not part of the pack. But then, like, as soon as she gets to know them better, she's like, "Okay, fine, you're good," and just starts, like, laying on their feet or licking them or whatever. It makes me feel like she would be the worst guard dog. It would be very funny, but she would not be very good at it. If someone tried to, like, break into the house, she would be like, "Who are you? Who are you? Oh, I know you now. Let's lay down." We'll probably be done for today once we're done this leaf, but we can probably do both of the other leaves in the next stream. Oh, it's gonna be kind of pointy. I don't see a ton of flowers with long, long leaves like this, but I wonder what makes them strong. Not remember how earlier I was talking about how leaves remind me of a cup, but I've seen some flowers with leaves that are the shape of swords, really long, so they almost look like tendrils, and I wonder why they look like that. I actually like that these leaves echo the shapes of a petal because obviously this isn't a real flower, it's more like a drawing. And in drawings, when you repeat shapes, that can make the whole piece feel like it has harmony. Like if you draw eyes in a circle shape, maybe put polka dots on what the character is wearing, or use like circle shapes in hair accessories. Recently, I was drawing a cat, and I made its eyes a sort of gumdrop shape, like a lot of early Pokemon. And I thought, okay, where can I repeat this shape? So this is a humanoid cat, like Hello Kitty, by the way. I gave it a little apron and I put ruffles on it. I decided not to make them look super roughly like in real life, instead more flat, and that's definitely a gumdrop shape. Recently, I've been listening to a lot of Narissa Ravencroft. Not just her original song, her covers too. She is such a good singer, guys. It's crazy. I didn't really listen to her a lot when she first debuted, but because I was mainly catching up with her streams, but I've been looking into that recently, and I kind of wish I had been listening to her before. Decrease over the next two. Okay, that's enough. Okay, look, it's so pretty. Here, the petal is rounder, but maybe you can see they have similar pointy ends versus a rounded end. I don't know exactly what it's called, but this sort of teardrop shape. That's what I'm talking about, where shapes echo each other. It doesn't have to be exact, but they have things in common, and that makes them feel connected. Okay, next stream might not be tomorrow, but it should be this week, and we'll be working on the other two petals. So be sure to check back at the same time this stream started, 9:30 EST, if you want to see.